Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kim with Creative Crafticality, and today is the February installment of the Pinspiration collaboration that is hosted by Kreationsby Kimber. Go ahead and check out all the links for all the crafty ladies down below. At the end of each month, on Saturday, we put out a video of a craft that we are doing using a pin on Pinterest that we've been wanting to do. So this week or this month I wanted to do a technique that I saw on Pinterest. It was actually making a junk journal using junk mail, and I had intended on doing it using this envelope here, but after I watched the video that the pin led to and looking through my stash of napkins and things, I wanted to do this rabbit napkin that I had, and it just wouldn't fit on any of the envelopes that I had, so I just decided to do the technique onto regular paper. You'll see here, just keep watching the video and you'll learn how to do the technique with me, but it is just an awesome way to make a junk journal cover. This is for one signature book, and I think it looks really fun. It is fun, actually. You'll see that, but I love how it turned out. It's just a collage, and I added some lace and trim at the bottom. I sewed in a tie, a ribbon tie. This is scrapbook paper here. I used a collection from Bo Bunny that I picked up at Tuesday morning just recently. This is called the Cottontail collection, and it is a vintage Easter pad. I did a haul video for this, so I will put the link for that down below. So go ahead and stick around and I will show you how I made this cover. Alright, to start, I just used a piece of 8.5 by 11 copy paper, and I brought in a bunch of my scraps that I had been using or had left over from other projects. So I had this vintage Sears catalog page, so I just start tearing it apart and making little pieces, kind of arranging parts of it all around on the page and kind of at different angles. And then I had this piece of ledger paper, and I just did the same with this. I tore off one side and I left the side that had the numbers, and I just kind of worked it in amongst those other pieces of paper. I like the length of these, so I just left that, and I also like that it was yellow, so it kind of goes along with the napkin. I had some coffee stained paper, so I just stuck those pieces in there, or actually that was children's manuscript paper, vintage pieces left, and then I had some pattern pieces that I used. So now I'm just going to use my Mod Podge and go through and glue everything down. I'm using a sponge brush. And I put the glue down first and then stick down the paper and then go back over the top with the Mod Podge. I'm not worrying about the edges because I'm going to go in later and trim off those with my scissors, or you can use a trimmer. This is just no rhyme or reason, really. I just wanted to make sure I had all the pieces balanced all over on the page. I had some thinner pieces and then like square pieces. So just tear all kinds of pieces, it doesn't matter. I even had I put in some little strips that I almost threw away and added that in there just to have that variety. And there's that little tiny piece I added. And I put one down at the bottom as well. Now the original tutorial, she had used a Sharpie and made little doodles and wrote like really fast script on it. I didn't have a Sharpie, like a tiny Sharpie, So my husband had given me, I think it was like a micron pen or something like that, but it ended up just smudging off because it wasn't permanent. So that didn't really bother me though. At the end, I just thought it looked cool. So there I show you, I have that pen. I did little circles and I tried to write with it, but I think the pen just didn't have enough ink left, and then ultimately it wasn't permanent, so it didn't end up working. By the time I had got the paint on it and the Mod Podge over the top, it kind of disappeared anyways. So now I'm pulling out my watercolors. I'll put a link for these down below. They're actually ones I received for Christmas, and they're a Japanese watercolor set. I really love them. So I'm just using 3 different pastel colors, the lavender, pink, and yellow, and I'm just going all over different areas on the page and putting them where I think they need to be. And I go over a second layer on that purple because it didn't stand out very much. So you just layer however much you think until it looks the way you want it. And I'm just going in just big blobs and really no rhyme or reason, just making it look balanced, as I said before. But I just pulled colors out of the napkin that I thought went well. And so after it was dried, I folded it in half. And this was the napkin that I'm using. I found this at Walmart last year, but they also are carrying them again this year. I saw them. They're like the Pioneer Woman collection. Really cute vintage bunny. So I'm just measuring this out because I want to put this piece on the front of the book or the cover. So I could have used my pencil, but I just folded it. And this is one layer. I pulled the napkin apart and just using the top layer of the napkin here. And I need to trim off, I guess I trimmed it already. So now I'm going to put my Mod Podge down and stick the napkin on top of it, and then go ahead and Mod Podge over the top. Now that this is dry, I'm just going to trim the pieces that are hanging over here. And then I'm going to choose a piece of my scrapbook paper to line this. Just had a little bit on that edge. Everything else is fine, I think. Might be a little here. And then I have 2 pieces of ribbon. This was some satin ribbon I had in my stash. It was a scrap. And I wanted to make it a little wrinkly, so what I did was I just got it wet and I scrunched it up, so now it just looks a little bit more vintage, I guess you would say. You can do this with regular ribbon. This seemed to wrinkle really well, or if you have like the sari silk ribbon or the binding, I can't remember what that's called, the seam binding ribbon. That works well too. So I have 2 pieces, and what I'm going to do is sew it into the cover. So I made these, let's see, they're about a little over, they're maybe like 13.5 inches long. So I'm going to sew them in on the inside like this. I'm going to cut my paper here and then go over to my sewing machine. The paper that I want to use for this is the Bo Bunny Cottontail collection, and this was a vintage theme, sort of Easter theme from Tuesday morning that I picked up, and if you want to see the haul video for that, I will put the link down for that below. So I want to choose something that I think will go with this. Since this is so busy on the front, I'm going to go with like a pattern, like a geometric pattern. Maybe a stripe, or I think this would look nice. It is on the inside, so I'll use this. If you want to sew pockets in, you should do that now, but I think I'm going to make library card pockets and just glue them into this. So now I'll just cut down to the same size with my paper trimmer. Start here. And when I do sewing on my sewing machine, I like to use a zigzag stitch most of the time. I put it on a really wide stitch, so I go to like a 3.5. So make sure you're lined up. Go ahead and fold this in half. And then I'll just use some paper clips to clip it together until I get over to my sewing machine. And then these will go in here like this. You just kind of center it on that side. So I'll go ahead and stick a paper clip there. Just kind of hold it there until I bring it over to the machine. Sometimes I'll do a double stitch right at that point, or you could glue it in ahead of time, whichever. Or you don't even have to sew it. I just like to add sewing to all my projects. It just adds more texture. So I'll go ahead and go over to my sewing machine. I just do a simple zigzag all the way around. Now what you could do is leave an opening like at the top for a pocket or like a tag or something. Since I do have my handles or my ties on the sides, I won't leave this open because sometimes I'll do that, leave that as a pocket. For this one, I think I'm just going to sew all the way around and make library pockets for my inside covers. And you will see finished product, my finished journals, in another video. So if you are just joining me today for this and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you'll be notified when I do. You can follow me over on Instagram too, because I will show sneak peeks there. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I finished sewing it all the way around there, and I sewed in the ties, and that's what it looks like here. So now it's just ready for me to put in all the papers that I decide to put in there for a junk journal. I'll probably sew that in with the pamphlet stitch. I may add a tassel or a charm or something from on the side, or yeah, I like to have something on the side usually. It won't be very big, of course, because this will just be a one signature junk journal. I did go and sew in some vintage lace and rickrack on the bottom just to add a little bit more dimension to the cover. I may go in and add other items onto the cover, I'm not sure, but I think I like it like this. So yeah, I think this is really fun, and it's just a fun little craft that you can do. I love doing like the kind of a mixed media, but more of just like a collage and then painting. You could use like a stencil and add some texture and dimension with like modeling or texture paste onto it, and just do a little bit more mixed media onto it. But I love this. I love how this turned out. So these will definitely, I will make another one of these and make the full journal, and those will be in my shop soon. So go ahead and follow me here, subscribe, and then follow me over on Instagram so you'll know when those will be going up. So I hope you go over and check out all the other crafty ladies in this collaboration, and we will see you again next time. This is Kim with Creative Crafticality. Bye. God bless.